Let's talk about something secretly running the world currency. You might think a dollar is a dollar, but governments are constantly playing a high-stakes game to change what that money is worth. This game, called currency manipulation, affects the price of your phone, your car, and even your job. Imagine a global marketplace where some countries quietly slap a 50% off sign on everything they sell. That's what currency manipulation does. It makes their goods look cheap, sparking trade wars and global tension. When a country manipulates its currency, it creates ripples that reach your local stores and your paycheck. So, let's pull back the curtain and decode how this hidden game shapes the global economy. So, what exactly is currency manipulation, and why does it matter so much in the world of global trade? Let's break it down with a simple example. Imagine you and your friend Chad both set up lemonade stands on the same street, and you both sell your lemonade for $1 a cup. But then, Chad finds a sneaky way to change the value of his money so that his lemonade now costs only 50 cents in real terms, even though the sign still says $1. Suddenly, Chad's stand is swamped with customers. It's not because his lemonade tastes better or he's friendlier, it's because he's made his product artificially cheaper by manipulating the value of his currency. In the real world, countries sometimes do something similar. By intentionally weakening their currency, they make their exports look like incredible bargains to buyers in other countries. Normally, the value of a country's currency is determined by the forces of supply and demand in the global marketplace. If lots of people want a currency, its value goes up. If not, it goes down. But when governments or central banks step in and deliberately push their currency's value lower, they're intervening in the natural process, giving their own exporters a big boost. A weaker currency means that products from that country become much cheaper for people in other countries to buy. This can make their goods fly off the shelves overseas, even if nothing else has changed. The key thing to watch for is intent. If a government is actively and purposefully devaluing its currency just to gain an edge in trade, that's what we call currency manipulation. It's kind of like the difference between tripping and falling by accident and sticking your leg out to trip someone else on purpose. One is just bad luck, but the other is unfair play. In sports, we call that cheating. And in global trade, it's no different. Manipulating currency to win isn't just frowned upon, it can have serious consequences. When countries play by their own rules, it can disrupt markets, hurt workers, and impact millions of lives around the world. That's why understanding currency manipulation is so important. How do countries actually weaken their currency? The most common trick, central banks print money to buy up foreign currencies, flooding the market with their own and driving its value down. This builds up massive foreign exchange reserves, a giant mattress stuffed with someone else's cash. Another method, slashing interest rates to make their currency less attractive to investors, causing money to flow out and the currency to drop further. Some countries go further, imposing capital controls or setting artificial exchange rates. Whether subtle or direct, the goal is the same: make exports cheaper by making the currency artificially weak. It's like releasing 1 million rare Pokemon cards. Suddenly, they're not so rare anymore. That's how the game is played. Why go through all this trouble? Simple: to sell more stuff. Devaluing a currency puts a country's exports on sale, boosting demand, production, and jobs. It also makes imports more expensive, nudging consumers to buy local. Building up foreign reserves acts as an economic shield, a rainy day fund for crises. For many countries, especially developing ones, this buffer is essential for stability. And for export-driven economies, keeping the currency stable and competitive is key to predictable growth. It's all about protecting jobs, industries, and economic security. If currency manipulation is so great for one country, why does it cause global outrage? Because it hurts everyone else, making their goods less competitive, costing jobs, and creating huge trade imbalances. The manipulating country racks up surpluses while others drown in deficits. This can spark trade wars and distort the global financial system. For example, when China buys trillions in US dollars, it keeps American interest rates low, fueling bubbles and weird dependencies. The biggest complaint? It's unfair. Trade should be about real advantages, not government tricks. Manipulation rewards cheaters and punishes those who play by the rules. It turns global trade into a rigged game. That's why everyone else throws a fit. Let's meet the real-world players behind the headlines. Nations whose currency decisions ripple across the globe, shaping economies and livelihoods far beyond their borders. China is the poster child, holding down the yuan for years, fueling its export boom and lifting millions out of poverty, but costing jobs elsewhere. By keeping its currency undervalued, China made its products cheaper for the world, turning itself into the world's factory. This strategy transformed entire cities and changed the lives of countless families, but it also sparked criticism from trading partners who saw their own industries struggle to compete. Switzerland intervenes to keep its franc from getting too strong, arguing it's a defensive move to protect its economy. Swiss officials say a strong franc hurts their exporters, especially in luxury goods and finance, so they step in to keep their economy stable. Their actions are often quiet, but the impact is felt across Europe and beyond. Japan has a long history of weakening the yen to help exporters and fight deflation. For decades, Japanese policymakers have tried to keep their products competitive abroad, supporting iconic industries like cars and electronics. Their interventions are seen as both a tool for growth and a shield against economic stagnation. Each country claims its own reasons: rapid growth, economic defense, or crisis recovery. Some say they're just trying to survive in a tough global market, while others see opportunity in shaping the rules to their advantage. But the effect is the same. Their goods get cheaper, competitors struggle, and entire industries can be upended. Factories close, jobs move overseas, and local economies feel the pressure. What's a vital policy for one is economic warfare for another. These moves spark debates, trade tensions, and sometimes even retaliation. It all depends on which side of the trade you're on. For exporters, it's a lifeline. For competitors, it's a threat. The motives are complex, but the global impact is real. Every decision sends shockwaves through markets, affecting prices, jobs, and even politics. That's the heart of the conflict. Nations balancing their own interests in a world where every move can tip the scales for everyone else. So, who's the referee? Often, it's the United States. The U.S. Treasury monitors trading partners and can officially label a country a currency manipulator. This naming and shaming puts pressure on countries to change their ways. The Treasury uses a three-part test: a big trade surplus with the U.S., a large global surplus, and persistent intervention in currency markets. All three must be met for the label to stick. It's a high bar, so the label is rare, but the threat alone is powerful. Being called out can trigger negotiations and global tension. It's the economic equivalent of a red card in soccer. The US keeps watch, and the world pays attention. That's how America calls foul. The debate is fierce. Is currency manipulation cheating or economic CPR? Critics say it's cheating, undermining fair competition, and exporting unemployment. They warn of a race to the bottom where everyone devalues and nobody wins. Defenders argue it's a vital tool, especially for developing countries trying to grow and stabilize. They point out that rich countries once used similar tactics. Sometimes it's defensive, like Switzerland fighting off a dangerously strong currency. For countries battling crisis or deflation, it's about survival, not sabotage. The truth: it depends on your perspective. What looks like cheating to one is a lifeline to another. That's why the argument never ends. Currency manipulation is the global economy's open secret, a shadowy game that plays out behind closed doors, giving countries a hidden edge in the race for economic power. Governments and central banks quietly pull strings, adjusting the value of their money to tip the scales in their favor, often without the world noticing. It's a high-stakes contest, where every move can ripple across continents. The goal: sell more goods abroad, create jobs at home, and protect local industries from foreign competition. It's about making exports cheaper, imports pricier, and keeping the home team ahead in the global marketplace. But for every winner, there's a loser. When one country gains, another often loses. Factories close, jobs vanish, and communities feel the pain. Tensions rise as workers protest, and industries struggle to survive. That's why the US and other major economies keep a close eye, maintaining watch lists and sounding alarms when they suspect foul play. Being labeled a currency manipulator isn't just a headline, it can trigger trade wars and diplomatic standoffs. The core tension is simple but powerful. Every nation wants to help its own people, but in a world so interconnected, every action has a reaction. No country acts in isolation anymore. When one country boosts its economy, another might feel the squeeze. A stimulus package here can mean layoffs or trade deficits there. The global economy is a web, and every tug is felt somewhere else. Balancing national interests with global responsibility is the challenge of our time. Leaders must weigh what's best for their citizens against the health of the entire world economy. This tug-of-war isn't just a headline, it affects your daily life. The prices you pay at the store, the security of your job, and the value of your savings are all shaped by these invisible battles. It's a complex game, but understanding it matters. The more you know, the better you can navigate the shifting tides of the global economy. In our globalized world, we're all players, whether we realize it or not. Every transaction, every purchase, every investment is part of this worldwide contest. And that's the sneaky secret behind your money's worth. It's shaped by a never-ending